Hey everybody, this is Meg. Welcome to my channel. I am here at the NOC at the Nantahala Outdoor Center. And here you go, here's the bridge. This is Smoke. Say hi. Alright, so I've been getting asked a lot of questions recently about like a NoBo versus SOBO hike. And like I have obviously a ton of insight on southbound, but Mr. Smoke here has hiked northbound last year, right?
2016.
Yeah, 2016, which was a year ago. So what was that like your start of it?
It was like a festival. Yeah, it was like 300 people started the same day I did. And there was never a dull moment. It was like the shelters were full. There was trail magic at every road head.
Yeah.
There was hundreds of people.
Yeah.
Thousands, actually.
And like the reason that I wanted to film this video right now is because I've been filming a lot of SOBO content, like almost encouraging people to just consider the southbound through hike, but not like intending for them to, because it's everybody's own like choice and journey. So this video is going to be just to like give you insight on both ways, because southbound is not like that at all. Southbound is very like way more personal. There's not as many people, and you can kind of like pick or choose your trail family. So I don't know. Let's walk across this bridge and go sit on this cool ass blue chair and figure it out. So look at this. It's here. So the Nantahala Outdoor Center for manifestation. That's the Gooder Grove. But like really, for real, look how beautiful this is. And hey, look at this. It doesn't matter which way you hike it, it's still beautiful. And that's like the main point of the whole thing, is like it really does not matter. Like just to do it is good enough. Just to do it is good enough. And the fact that like just to shed some insight on this, like you don't have to do an Appalachian Trail through hike to experience the Appalachian Trail. Like if you can even just get out for a freaking month, you're gonna come back a different person. What's your take on that?
I mean, yeah, it doesn't take long at all. Maybe like a week. Maybe like a day.
Maybe like a day, but come
people.
on, like in reality, like a week is cool, 2 weeks is better, 3 weeks is fucking great. 4 weeks, like a month on this trail, god dang it, you're gonna go back like a new human being. You know?
The bottom line, yeah, you go through transitions. The first like quarter, you'll be a completely different person. Second quarter, you'll be another person. And then over halfway through, you're completely changed. And then when you're bringing it on home in Maine, for me, yeah, in the whites, everything was just completely different. Yeah.
Well, and I would say like if you're considering a northbound through hike as opposed to a southbound through hike, if you, first and foremost, if you don't have a lot of experience hiking, I'm just gonna say like full disclosure, start northbound.
Yes, definitely, because you're with a whole bunch of other beginners just figuring out their gear, testing it for the first time, and really just setting foot into the woods for the first time and really being away from towns. And yeah, it's
there are people that choose the southbound through hike based on like just the time of year and that sort of thing, and that's awesome and great, but at least get out and do a couple like overnights, at least I'd say 3 or 4 days before starting your journey, because you are summiting Katahdin on your first freaking day.
And when you're northbound, you can literally just jump on there and wing it and find out what you're made of right there on the approach trail. And a lot of people fall off in the first 50 miles in Neal Gap, and then most people will make it to Damascus, but after Damascus, after trail days, it's a completely different environment. Like you'll have a whole bunch of people here playing instruments and fuck it, doing drugs, having a good time, wilding out, and it's just once you get past Damascus, and it's more about a serious hike.
And that's what's funny about the SOBO through hike, is like you start a serious hike. You know, it's like, that's kind of like for me, the thing that keeps standing out is like if you start a NoBo through hike, it feels like a little bit less serious at first. And then maybe more serious as you go on, especially because, like, I remember meeting NoBos and the whites that were like, what is this? Like, I still have, and we were like, oh, you only have so much further to go. And they were like, but now there's like all these mountains, you know? But like for us, the SOBOs, like you start at Katahdin and into the 100-mile wilderness and then straight into the White Mountains. So it was, I don't think you need to have like hiking experience necessarily to do that. You just have to have your mental game on. But it helps to have like mad hiking experience. Because if you start SOBO and you're not cut out for the trail, like you're not gonna make it through the 100-mile wilderness. And that's okay still, like, because then you can kind of like reevaluate or refigure it out. But you had to like start knowing what you were doing, ish.
Well, the first 50 miles of the AT northbound is wilderness, so there's, you know,
like northbound.
Yeah, when doing the approach trail and then on the whole 50 mile in the Neil Gap, it is all wilderness. So. Yeah. You get a taste of it. It's just like, you know, it's 50 miles instead of 100 miles, you know.
Yeah.
And it's Springer Mountain instead of Mount Katahdin, whereas Mount Katahdin has its own personality. It's
Mount Katahdin to hike up it is 5. Is it 5? I think it's 5.3 miles. Do you realize that? That was how much that Looking Glass Rock.
And that's another thing. So you were on Mount Katahdin in June, and I was there in October. And when I was there, it was a snowstorm, and I couldn't see anything.
And when I was there, it was beautiful and sunny and gorgeous.
So I don't really know the miles. I just remember a straight like blur of 6 hours of hiking, and it was hike or die or.
But which is a really good story for another day. But isn't like everybody's summit story. But yours was pretty intense. Because that's the thing about Katahdin is like you really can't predict it. Like actually, let's get real about the Appalachian
every month
Trail.
Of the year up there.
Wait, let's get really real about the Appalachian Trail. It doesn't matter which direction you hike it. Whichever one you choose is going to be for your like highest benefit because it's going to lead you to all the things that you're supposed to experience on the Appalachian Trail. So to preface again, like, because this video is just to offer insight for people who are like, I don't know, figuring out which way they want to go or like maybe are considering a through hike. That's what I feel anyway. Like if you are considering a through hike, like just do it. Just freaking do it. Let me just put that out there right now.
Well,
just decide and do it.
As far as hiking the AT and being outside the box, I think that it doesn't matter if you start at Springer or start at Katahdin. Start wherever you are.
Yeah.
Go north, go south, and then just pick up again and connect the trail. It's just all. No matter what, every day you're gonna meet a person that's gonna change your life.
And like flip-flopping is cool too. Like the whole
idea,
that whole idea of like the flip-flop through hike never like totally stood out to me. But then once I was on the trail and I met more flip-floppers, I was like, I get that because you like kind of tailored it around, you know, what their personal like needs or their dates were or whatever.
A lot of those people like they live around Harper's Ferry,
yeah.
So that's the halfway point, and everybody is either starting from there and they'll hike north for the summer, and then they'll hike start again at Harper's and do the south section. So.
Yeah. I mean, it works. Like that was the thing that I realized out there was like it didn't really matter how people were doing it or what their intention was.
Another verse of the whole northbound flip flop. There's a lot of people that started northbound in Springer and then made it to Harper's and then jumped up to Harper's to Katahdin to hike southbound. So there's just a lot of options. It doesn't matter. The bottom line is hike your own hike, do it the way you want to do it, and follow your heart.
Yeah. That is the bottom line. But I feel like it's just a good time where people are really trying to figure out which way to go or like if they want to do it or not. And for me, the main thing to say to people is like if the Appalachian Trail is in your awareness to hike, you're gonna hike it. You're gonna hike it, whether it's now or 5 years from now or 10 or 20 or 30 years from now. Like, just do it. You know, pull the trigger and do it.
And forget all doubt and just get out here.
Yeah, because it's gonna change your freaking reality, like in a big, awesome way. This place is like, oh man, how do you even express how
magical.
Beautiful?
I like to say it's magical because you see magic every single day. You see it in nature, you see it in the people. you see it in the actual miracles that happen
Yeah.
along the way. Like, oh wow, I was thinking about this, and then this is all I needed in the world, and then there it is
Yeah.
when you need it the most.
Yeah. So it's almost not even a question of like the southbound or the northbound, because like, well, and for a lot of people who've been following my channel for a while, you know, I was gonna hike northbound. Southbound through hike was not like even in my awareness, you know, until I found out that I had cancer, and then I was like, I'm just gonna make this work anyway. But like the point being, it's the same trail. It just comes down to like where you're at in life and like when you're ready to start, and that's getting ready to get ready is a big thing. Like if it's calling your name and like right now is not the year to do it, that's okay. Like there's the next year and there's the next year. You know, like you kind of got to get like really, really right with yourself to set out in a good, bold, confident way. Cause like that's what happened for me. I was like, no, I'm gonna like get out of debt and I'm gonna quit my job and I'm gonna sell all my shit and I'm gonna like make sure I step out there with like no baggage. And it didn't matter if that was northbound, southbound, flip-flop, whatever. It was almost just being like, yeah, I'm gonna go live in the woods for 5 to 6 months with only what I need on my back, and that's gonna be all that I need, you know?
Yeah, I actually had no preparation whatsoever. I'd never backpacked before in my life. I grabbed everything that I thought I needed to survive in the wilderness. I came out here wearing jeans and a 75-pound pair of
No, you
pack,
didn't.
and
You were wearing jeans.
my first day on the approach trail, they were trying to give me the trail name Denim, but it didn't stick. But yeah,
I'm glad.
There was a lot of people winging it out there. A lot of people have never set foot in the wilderness, and they're just like, they're like true pilgrims, just like, we need to find freedom, and they just found it on the AT, and everybody moved together in a community.
And that's the kind of thing that I think is so cool, because like honestly, from my interpretation, even having not had hiked a northbound hike, but like I had researched it for about a year, and everything that I kept coming up with was like, anybody, you know, if you're feeling called, you can go and start a northbound hike and like
called
figure
to the
it
AT.
out.
I didn't know that the trail went from Georgia to Maine when I got on it.
Wait, how did you not know that? Like, how did you end up there?
I found out that there was shelters on the Appalachian Trail, and I didn't have a home at the time, so I was looking for a place to stay, and I heard that these shelters, you could stay up to like 3 days at a time. So it was cold at the time when I was putting my idea together, and then I was like, I'm gonna want to go as far south as I can. So I found out it started at Springer, and once I got there, everyone there was like, there was 300 people saying we're going to Maine, and I never got it out of my mind that I wasn't going to Maine, so I just
and then
going.
You just did it.
Yeah, 14 states
Can
later.
you high five right now?
Made it to Katahdin, hell yeah.
So that's like the main point of the whole thing is like, okay, and the more prepared you can be, I think the better. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many freaking YouTube channels out there now of like hikers, through hikers, section hikers, whatever, that like, if you're considering it, do your research. You know what I mean? Like, do your research, figure out your gear. Less is more.
Doing
is more.
A little bit of research definitely will help you. Any kind of experience you have is going to give you an advantage. But
and too, like, I don't know, and then like do your research, but expect that it's gonna change.
Yeah, and the thing is, you're in a community of people that all will support you. You're surrounded by people who are on the same mission, the same quest that you are. So you're going to be surrounded by people that want to help you because they want your help, and they give you advice because they want your advice.
And actually, this is something I want to talk about a little bit, because like I know when you start hiking northbound, there's a lot more people that are more like, oh hey, let me help you do a shakedown or whatever with your pack. Like, you don't really get that. Do you want to explain a shakedown?
I never let anybody shake on my pack.
But will you just explain it? Like,
oh
what
yeah,
it
they're
is?
like, oh, you have 75 pounds of gear. Let me go through that and tell you what you don't need. And I was like, no.
Everything.
Why don't you tell me what I need, and then I'll go through it myself. I was very stubborn. I should have let people shake down my pack, but I didn't want anyone going through my stuff.
That was part of your journey, though. You know,
exactly.
like that was part of your
hard
journey.
way. I like to learn the hard way. Traveled 300 miles before I realized I didn't need a lot of stuff like underwear and tarps and
No, I stopped wearing underwear like, you know,
deodorant. Forget about it. All that stuff.
Deodorant, not even worth it.
Yeah.
But like in hiking southbound, you don't really get that so much. Like there's really nobody out there that's like, you don't need that, you don't need that, you don't need that. It's really kind of like you on your own almost, with a bunch of other people that are like, I kind of know how to hike, but like now I'm doing this through hike, and it's my first one, and da 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 da. But so you kind of have to get more real with yourself southbound. At the current moment, like this is real time, real talk, because hopefully in a few years there will be more southbound through hikers doing shakedowns for people and shit. But you have to like go into it knowing what you're doing, because you start in the 100-mile wilderness and you're like, I don't want to carry this much shit with me. And I would say, actually, coming to think of it, the number one, I don't like necessarily believe in like mistakes or wrong or anything in my life, but like I think the if anybody made a mistake, myself included, in the 100-mile wilderness starting southbound, it was like hiker hunger does not kick in until like a month or a month and a half, right? Mm-hmm. Would you agree with that?
6 weeks.
Like it's at least 6 weeks.
Get your hiker leg. You're burning 10,000 calories a day.
Yeah, but like everybody started with so much food that we were like, we don't need this. Everybody would get to a shelter and be like, do you want this? Do you want this? Do you want this? Like,
that's another thing that I should probably make a point of.
Don't start with so much food.
I started the Appalachian Trail at Amalacola with a bag of trail mix and one mountain house. And
that's pretty cool.
A couple of already mixed protein shakes, things that I shouldn't have been packing out, but yeah, and the thing is, I met everyone along the way who were trying to ditch food. So I started with like half a day's worth of food, and I made it 50 miles without a problem because everyone had something to give
what's
away.
Funny too, now that I'm thinking about SOBO, as in like what you said, SOBOs are still in the habit of like packing way more food than they think they do. So if you're like that badass SOBO that starts the trail next year with a day of food, go for it. Because I
Don't do that, by the way.
Because I guarantee you.
Unless you can forage for food, don't do that.
Okay, no, I'm not like saying that you should, but you could. Mm-hmm. Because everybody in the 100-mile was like, do you want this? Do you want this? Do you want this? Like, I packed too much food. And everybody else was like, I packed too much food too. So you just, I mean, it's, you know, it's cool because you get out there and you really like learn immediately, pretty quickly, but
you have to. You adapt or you don't. If you don't adapt, then you won't survive.
Yeah, you're kind of like off the trail, you know, at that point. But okay, so like let's get back to like reality logistics. But when somebody actually asks like, should I hike northbound or should I hike southbound? Like honestly, that's
north is the answer.
South is the answer.
Northbounders get trail days and trail magic.
But Southbounders are so much cooler. I mean, seriously, come on. We start on Katahdin and we're like, we're badasses now. Y'all gotta earn that shit. Whatever. We're already cool. No, but this is like all said in jest too, because
it was interesting when I started bumping into Southbounders. It was like, you guys went through the hardest section, but we've been out here for at least 2 months longer than you. Right. So it was like, there was a weird balance. Like, yeah, you were more difficult, but we can tell you what it's like to live in the woods longer.
And like, Southbounders are so stubborn that we're like, no, we got this. We've hiked the Whites. We know what this trail is like. And then after, you know, I'll comment on this right now. The craziest, one of the craziest like changes in my trail was when there were no more NoBos. Mm-hmm. Because I was like, oh my God, I have been sourcing all of my information from NoBos this whole time. And then they like started to disperse, where I was like asking them all the time, like, what's next in this town?
Tell me about
where
the
are the
future.
cool towns? Yeah. Tell me my future right now.
Where am I going?
And then when they weren't there, I was like, oh my God, you know, like it probably took a month to realize like I was like feeling off and feeling funky, because then I like kind of was going forth, like figuring it out on my own. And I was like, why do I feel this way? It was because there were no more NoBos. And one of the biggest things in that moment where I was like, I would love to put it out more into the universe and the world, where it's like, hey, NoBos, give SOBOs insight. SOBOs, give NoBos insight. Like, we're all here together. We're all hiking the same damn trail.
That was the thing I loved about SOBOs, is that we were same in so many ways, but completely different.
Yes.
and we just met halfway, and we had all great stories to tell. I always had great times meeting up with SOBOs.
Same. I mean, like with NoBos, I always felt the same way.
It was just like, tell me brand new stories.
Yeah.
You know, tell me about the future. Tell me about, you know, what can I expect?
Yeah, there's like all there. I mean, I guess previously has been maybe or had been like some sort of like funny jesting animosity of like NoBo, SOBO, like SOBO, you're hiking the wrong way or whatever. But when you're really out there and you're really jiving with people, why are you pointing at me? Why are you pointing at me? Why are you pointing at me? I didn't plan on hiking SOBO. It just happened. But the point is, like, when you really get into a moment where you're jiving with, like, the NoBo, SOBO flow, like, on the trail, that's the coolest thing. Because it really doesn't matter. And that's what I feel like I'm here to say is, like, the whole idea of one way is the right way or the wrong way is, like, there is no wrong way. There is no wrong way.
No, and I have nothing but respect for purists that want to hike every single mile, but also don't. just enjoy your time. Yellow blaze, aqua blaze, you know, blue blazes, pink blaze, green blaze, brown blaze, whatever your pleasure, just go with it.
Yeah. Purple blaze, who cares? Like,
yeah,
just
everybody's
do your
out here
dang thing.
doing their own thing. And the thing is, a lot of these so-called purists don't even actually make it all the way. So who the fuck are you really fighting with?
No, and that's the like coolest part about like decide, like, just if you're deciding to hike the Appalachian Trail, you're already winning.
Yeah.
You are already
if you feel the butterflies in your stomach and you know that you're going to be out here with your backpack and nothing but your own means to survive, then
for months
you're
and
stepping
months
into
and months.
adventure.
Yeah. And here, this is a good time to say too, like, if you get to a point where you decide, I don't care what direction you hike, if you get to a point where you decide, I don't want to keep hiking every day, that does not mean you need to get off the trail. That does not mean you need to get off the trail. Because there are so many ways to hike the trail and keep going without like doing it in a purist fashion.
Some of the most amazing experiences that I had were meeting people hitchhiking. And they'll take you into their home, and they'll drop you off into the future like 20 miles ahead.
Teleporting.
And then there you are, and you're there, you caught up with your friends, and you just had an amazing experience with someone that just bought you a whole bunch of food and got you a shower and a laundry. And yeah, it's just be open to opportunities. Also, trust your instincts. Be aware of things that might feel bad. If things feel bad and you get a bad sensation, then do your best to avoid those situations. Trust your instincts. That's in the AWOL guide right there. But yeah, you want to, you know, if someone's giving you a bad vibe, then get away from them. But you're surrounded by people that are here for good purposes.
Right.
And you can't go wrong.
So the point of the story is that it doesn't matter which way you go. Just go. Just pick a way and just go.
Doesn't matter where you start either.
No. And it doesn't matter where you end. Because there really is no ending.
Yep.
I think that's the coolest thing. Like, people keep saying to me, like, oh, what are you doing now? Or like, where are you going? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm here right now.
Let's go one day at a time. I love not knowing where I'm going to sleep the next night. Just wake up and just go with it.
This would be a good time to like briefly mention like our tentative plans for the evening. Because this is like the cool thing too. Once you hike the Appalachian Trail, you're going to learn that you have superpowers. And that your superpowers are that you don't have to conform to anything you don't want to conform to. And that you can go wherever you want to go and do whatever you want to do. So like right now, we're at the fucking Nantahala Outdoor Center. And God, how long have we been here now? A couple hours?
Yeah.
Maybe. We went into the restaurant, we had food, we met like Amy, the bartender, who was incredible. Like incredible. Just a wonderful woman. And we asked her like, oh, tell us about this place close by. And then what was it that she said? Like, go up Route 74 and there's camping and there's like a mountain and
towards Chattanooga.
Yeah, pretty much what you learn is that there's just like, you don't have to.
You don't need an itinerary. You don't need a map even. You just live it out. You can just bump into people and get stories. Like we didn't know that we were going to be in Franklin until we saw someone wearing a Lazy Hiker Brewery shirt.
In Ash? No, in Brevard.
In Brevard.
In
And we're like,
Brevard.
oh, well, we were thinking about Franklin, and then...
We were like, well, now we know where to go. And that's the coolest thing, because like I feel like people are genuinely called to hike the Appalachian Trail because it calls their name, and for whatever reason, it's whatever. But it doesn't have to end with that. You know what I mean? Like if you're called to hike that trail, like that doesn't mean you have to go back to like real life or like back to whatever. Like you can just you can just decide to make a life change and like go with it and roll with it. You know? Don't you agree with that?
Just being out here is a life-changing opportunity. It's that's kind of what it was designed for, was for people to be in tune with nature. And like this is where we belong. This is where humans are supposed to be. Not that misconstrued society that you've adapted to and you think is reality.
False reality, fake news.
Out here is like where it's real, where you can like listen to the trees and you can listen to nature.
And your intuition and being like, oh, I'm here today and I don't know where I'm going to be tomorrow, but like where do I want to be tomorrow? I don't know yet. You know, like
me either.
Just rolling with well, just rolling with it. Like that's the thing I think I've learned the most is like there's magic everywhere, and
it's gonna be good.
Yeah, no matter what. Okay, so
so I would recommend taking a northbound through hike.
And I would recommend taking a southbound through hike, and just only because you're gonna always end up wherever you're supposed to end up. And that's pretty much all there is to say about that. So whichever way you decide, it's the right way. And that's about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. See ya.
Happy trails.